Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Seneca Scout. We'll be bringing you some pressing national news as well as some more interesting local news. I'm James Rickard alongside
Jonah Blackwood.
And we're going to start out with some political news. Following the race to the Democratic primary, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders won decisively at Nevada last Saturday. Sanders earned an astounding 47% of the vote, winning more than double former Vice President Joe Biden's votes. Biden won 20%, Buttigieg won 14%, and Warren won 10%, with the rest trailing behind. With Super Tuesday, where the delegates from 5 states will cast their ballot for their preferred candidate coming next week, Senator Sanders' momentum could very well continue into the convention. We'll be back next week with those results and to see if Senator's Nevada victory paid off in the South Carolina primary this weekend.
In other primary news, the campaign for Michael Bloomberg's presidential race has come under fire for violating Twitter's terms of service. Last Friday, about 70 Twitter accounts affiliated with the Bloomberg campaign were suspended for what Twitter claimed was platform manipulation and spam. The campaign hired hundreds of deputy digital organizers in order to spread pro-Bloomberg posts on social media. These accounts posted identical messages, which is in violation of new policies Twitter put forth last September.
In other national news, Harvey Weinstein, the producer of countless Hollywood films, is facing up to 25 years in prison after a 5-day trial is coming to its end. He was charged with third-degree rape alongside with first-degree sexual act. Weinstein was also acquitted of another 2 charges relating to sexual misconduct in his trial in New York. In LA, he is also facing 2 charges, which could lead him to another 28 years of prison. Over 80 women have made accusations against Weinstein since late 2017. Many of his accusers have stated the charges are not enough and had wished for a harsher punishment.
And now, let's head over to Nick for a report on the current state of the stock market.
Thanks, guys. Global financial markets faced many scares this week. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 1,100 points, ending at its lowest level since October. The S&P 500 fell below 3,000, and the Nasdaq Composite lost 200 points, erasing its gain for the year. Also, the yield on the benchmark 10-year U.S. Treasury note fell to an all-time low on Tuesday due to the fact that investors fled riskier assets for safer ones. Much of the panic by investors is due to reports that coronavirus cases have surged in countries such as Italy, South Korea, and Iran. Markets in China continue to take large losses, and multinational corporations that have supply chains in China will have to make some tough decisions in the near future. Most economists are more concerned about the lack of inflation in the economy. Its absence has provided a solid base of support for government bond prices that have persisted even when investors have grown slightly more than optimistic about the economy. So basically, we're facing a downward slide in the market right now due to unknown expectations about coronavirus, and bond rates have gone to an all-time low as demand has gone up. All right, back to the studio.
Thank you, Nick. That is some very interesting information regarding the current state of our economy. In other news, a tanker truck in Indiana overturned last Thursday, dumping 4,000 gallons of jet fuel, engulfing an I-70 overpass in a massive fireball. The driver of this semi was reported to have serious burns, miraculously surviving after nearby civilians extinguished the fire on his clothing. The Indianapolis Fire Department first arrived around 2 p.m., including 3 tankers and a hazardous materials team. It took them about 40 minutes to extinguish the flames because of the lack of accessible hydrants. Firefighters had to rely on tankers to supply the water.
And looking into some science-related news, researchers at MIT have used artificial intelligence to develop a new antibiotic with great potential. These researchers were able to discover this new drug using a computer program that can screen millions of chemical compounds in a short span of a few days. The new antibiotic, named Halicin, has been found to clear up Ebola, a bacterium that has spread throughout U.S. soldiers in the Middle East, in under 24 hours. Halicin has also been tested on strains of E. coli and proven that over a 30-day period, the bacteria did not develop a resistance to the drug. This is a major development because E. coli has formed a resistance to another antibiotic in 1 to 3 days. With this program, many other antibiotic candidates were identified and will be investigated in hopes of providing better alternatives to current medicine.
Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury are 2 of the best heavyweight boxers on the planet right now. And Saturday night, they had their much-anticipated match. Fighting for the heavyweight belt, Tyson Fury dominated Wilder for 6.5 rounds until Deontay's trainer threw in the towel, resulting in Fury winning via technical knockout. The stats were not close, and Wilder was wounded from the impact. He later expressed that his pre-match costume affected his performance, saying, quote, "My uniform was too heavy. It was 40 plus pounds. It was like a real workout for my legs. I knew immediately the game had changed," unquote. In the end, Fury was crowned heavyweight champion of the world.
And now in more local news, nearly a year after Superintendent Anthony Hamlet of Pittsburgh Public School District and 4 of his top administrators made an unauthorized trip to Cuba, the amount spent on an independent investigation into the legality of the trip has been released. Over $100,000 has been spent by the district on the investigation to conclude that Hamlet and his administrators violated 2 district policies by attending the trip. At the expense of the school district, the trip to Cuba was offered to Hamlet and his colleagues by the Flying Classroom, which is a supplemental STEM curriculum program the district developed by an $80,000 contract with. However, the Flying Classroom is said to have failed in upholding its end of the contract and was suspected to have offered the international travel in hopes of gaining another deal with Pittsburgh Public School District.
A 20-year-old woman recently fell from a McConnell's Mill cliff. After falling roughly 80 feet, this Slippery Rock student sustained head and back injuries. She was soon flown to UPMC Presbyterian Hospital in Pittsburgh by helicopter, and her condition is stable. The fall occurred on an off-trail, haphazard hike. Slippery Rock Township Volunteer Fire Department Chief Bill Lunn advised that there are plenty of areas where you can slip and fall off a cliff if you are not careful.
And on to some less depressing news. The Kaufman House reopened recently after several years of the hotel shut down 7 years ago due to the kitchen fire. Reconstruction was delayed as the building, which was built in the early 1900s, needed a complete rebuild. The hotel was an iconic symbol of Zelienople, and many of the residents are excited to have it back. The Kaufman House, now going by the new title, the Kaufman Tavern, is open for business on Main Street in Zelienople, PA.
Moving on to some Seneca Valley news, the regional academic decathlon has come to an end. Alex Osman recently had a chance to talk to some of Seneca's competitors about the event. Here's what he learned.
So academic decathlon, it's an academic competition. Pretty much decathlon means 10, so we compete in 10 different subjects, 7 objective, 3 subjective, and they're all focused around a central theme. This year our theme is illness and wellness and exploration of healthcare, and so all of our themes, all of our subjects are based around that idea of healthcare. We study cancer specifically, but for the most part it is healthcare throughout time and history.
So leading up to regionals, we compete in local competitions, and all season we've taken first place at all locals. And then last 2 weeks ago was regionals, and we took first place out of all the high schools in our western region of Pennsylvania. There's regionals out in central PA, all the Penn State schools, and then regionals out in eastern PA, all the eastern Philadelphia schools. So the top schools from all across the state now come together in 2 weeks. We leave for states, which is out in Philadelphia, and whoever wins the state competition goes to nationals, and that's in Anchorage, Alaska. So kids are pretty excited. They're studying like crazy.
This is a very young program, and we've been very blessed to have this much success early on. We work really hard. We meet after school every single day, and it's good to know that our hard work is paying off. It's a great organization full of a lot of really unique people. It's something that's for everyone, I feel like. When you compete in academic decathlon, you compete against those with a similar GPA as you, and so every single person has an opportunity to make it big and to win and to earn money and medals for their future. And overall, it's done a lot for me in terms of my academic and personal success.
Just anybody for next year who's interested, it's for grades 9 through 12. I'm definitely looking to build up a new team. We're losing a lot of seniors this year, so we'll see what the future brings.
Wow, it's very interesting to see what some of the great students at this school and the academic decathlon team have been up to.
Yeah, well, on Tuesday, Seneca Valley students attended a special presentation from a Holocaust survivor here at SV. Most 10th graders are required to read Elie Wiesel's Night, a harrowing nonfiction book about the Holocaust. Local organization Teen Screen organized for a Holocaust survivor to come in and speak to the children. Shulamit Basataki is a Lithuanian Holocaust survivor who spent time in Poland and Israel before moving to the United States about 56 years ago. Basataki is 78 years old and immigrated to Pittsburgh as a teen. She attended University of Pittsburgh and became a social worker. English teacher Mrs. Mihalik said, quote, "Students were so inspired and impressed with her presentation," end quote. Here is just one piece of advice. Miss Basataki.
Excuse me for my vocabulary. But you don't fight this hate with hate, you just simply educate. My response is In one of the school students asked me, what is my revenge for the Holocaust? My revenge for the Holocaust is in 2 words, education, education. But make sure that when you use your internet skills that you get into the right website, because I hate the website that deny the Holocaust, not all this horrible, hateful stuff. One of the issues that I always address, which is the result, a form of hate, is bullying. Bullying is a form of hate. And I always ask students, what's opposite of hate? I can hear you. And that sounds better. So you can use that skill, spread the love, don't be a bystander, and if you see something that doesn't feel right, if it doesn't feel right, most likely it is not right among your friends. The bullying that is occurring now on social media, to me that is such a waste of your time, of your energy. You feel much better when you reach out to people who are different. I have such a diverse group of friends. I'm like a little nation, somebody told me.
Wow, it's incredible, and it's a great opportunity for Seneca Valley students to be able to learn so much from somebody who actually lived through that period in our history. The members of a Seneca Valley JROTC Raider Battalion received the 2019 to 2020 Heart of a Lion Award for the Zillionople Lions Club chapter earlier this week. The Zillionople Lions Club is representative in promoting the ideals of the International Lions Club, including good citizenship, fellowship, and community service. The award is given to members of a community who are not registered with the Lions Club, but are recognized for their volunteer work and service in the community. SVJROTC's regular collaboration with the partnership of the local organization and community service efforts were continuing actions to their commitment to leadership, excellence, and contributing factors to their selection for the award. The award will be another addition in a long line of strong performances for the Raider Battalion this year, including being named as a 2019 to 2020 Honor Unit with Distinction, and a first place finish at the Western PA JROTC Air Rifle Competition in January.
And lastly, a group of students recently formed their own jazz band outside of school. Here's Andrew Cummings with some more information.
The 241 Big Band is a student-created, student-run jazz ensemble. We started the 241 Big Band as a way to get out and play more jazz music. In our school ensembles and our school rehearsals, there's only so much time, and we only have time to only prepare a few pieces. So me and my peers, we wanted to play more music. So we wanted to get out there and have fun playing music.
Then we ended up getting a lot of players who were interested in playing in a jazz band that was outside of the Seneca jazz bands.
Initially, when we started, it was for us just to have more playing opportunities and for people to play different parts they wouldn't normally in their school groups. So we performed at the Sherwood Oaks nursing home. After doing that and seeing how much they loved hearing us and feeling the joy of playing for other people and getting out and playing music, we absolutely loved it. We just wanted to keep doing more and more of it.
Well, I think that this is going to be a group that is going to end up recurring, not only through the rest of the year until we leave for college as seniors, but it'll be something that hopefully an underclassman, perhaps a junior, will continue on and will find the same inspiration that we did to play in a fun jazz group outside of Seneca jazz bands.
The more people we can spread that joy to, the better, you know. There's nothing better than live music, in my opinion.
Wow, that's very impressive. We have some very talented students here at Seneca Valley.
Yep. And, well, that's all of the news we have for you today. And signing off, Jonah Blackwood.
And James Rickard. Make sure you guys tune in next week. We'll be here the same time on Friday.
An ancient business, a modern piece of glasswork. Down on the corner that you walk each day in passing. The elderly sales clerk won't ask with suspicion. The whole of motor corporations giving its mission.